To Leave, a game about a boy who must travel through the dark void in search of souls. This can be described as a two-dimensional game where you use a door to avoid dangers and try to get through the end of each stage. To Leave is available for Nintendo Switch and Xbox and can currently be purchased for $5 in Nintendo's eShop. I received a copy of this game. Feel free to like and subscribe. I review new Nintendo Switch games every week. You play as a boy named Harm. He suffers from depression and the goal is to get him to get over his past. Apparently, one of his relatives has died, which has led to him more or less locking himself in the apartment. The only way out is through his magic door. Okay, I have to say, this story is very dark and deep. It covers heavy topics and there is even a warning about what to expect, and also information about seeking professional help depending on your own situation. But the story can also be perceived as fuzzy. Sometimes it feels like the developers want to make you think about life's big questions instead of following along in a streamlined and clearly chiseled narrative. It's not a bad story by any means, but it can come across as, well, unclear at times. To Leave has a fairly simple game idea. Simply described, it involves navigating through different stages using a floating or magical door. The stages are designed in such a way that you lose if the door hits a wall or any moving object. What you lose is energy, the energy of the door. There is a counter that constantly counts down. If a counter is reset to 0, all energy is used up and you are forced to start over from the beginning. However, there is blue power scattered along the levels. The power gives you more energy and is necessary to be able to go further. The good thing is that the difficulty curve in this game is well balanced. In the beginning, the obstacles are quite simple and the courses are forgiving. The space becomes narrow, the moving objects become more and sometimes even faster. I found this to be a game that makes you swear. Every time you make progress, you hit a wall and have to start over from the last checkpoint. Extremely frustrating, but at the same time, it's satisfying when you get on to overcome a difficult obstacle and reach the next checkpoint or complete the entire course. This is a trial and error kind of game. You take small steps forward, get to know your surroundings, and learn to understand how to navigate. The control is perfectly fine, but also different. The floating door is affected by gravity, so you have to constantly hold or press the A button to lift. It feels like a struggle between floating up and falling down. This is one of the game's great challenges, to manage and get used to the door's movement pattern. It's not necessarily easy, but it's also about how confident you are in getting through tight passages and watching out for flying objects. This part was really frustrating and challenging. You have to maneuver your door and avoid all obstacles that move vertically. I think it took me about 100 tries before I finally reached a checkpoint. Extremely patient demanding, but rewarding when you manage to do it. It's actually quite fun. The graphics are varied. Above all, there are some nice cutscenes that help set a certain tone. Darkness, desperation and depressing. The courses take place in different environments, for example in an industrial area or other places that look like pure fantasies. All obstacles are also clearly marked and stand out from the background. That way, playing will never be problematic, that one would be deceived by what is an obstacle and what is a background. To Leave is an indie game that probably requires some patience. It gets more complicated the further you go, and possibly you have to prepare for some frustrating moments, which can also be one of the game's strengths, to try again and again until you succeed. The gameplay is quite simple and it can turn out to be a bit monotonous. You hang onto your door, fly around and avoid obstacles. That's basically what this is all about, but at the same time, the game's narrative is well crafted and has a depth that approaches life's existential questions about mental illness, life and death. Overall, this is a solid indie game. I experienced no crashes or annoying slowdowns. It works well both docked and handheld. Overall, this is a somewhat entertaining and accessible game, but with a complicated story, and definitely worth the price. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. I review new games every week. Have a great day. See ya!